Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Amanda if you are new here. If you're not new, welcome back you guys. Thank you for being here. And if you are new, please consider subscribing to this channel. If you are, I don't know what that was, but there's a subscribe button down there. So subscribe if you are new and you want to follow along my weight loss journey and my tips on WW and just my life in general, surrounded by me trying to lose some weight. So if you are interested in that, subscribe. And I would love to have you here. So for this week, we're going to be doing my weekly meal prep. I meal prep every week. I take one day and I just meal prep all day so that I have my meals in my fridge and I'm all set to go throughout the week. It just really helps me. I'm going to give you a breakfast, lunch, dinner, and a bonus sweet treat. So lots of recipes in this one. So if you guys are ready to see these recipes and get cooking, just keep on watching. Alright, so for breakfast, I'm going to be making a bacon potato casserole. It's going to be pretty simple, pretty easy, but it's going to be really good. And I'm going to just store it in the fridge in a container. And then when I want it, I will put it on the plate. And I think I'm going to have like a little runny egg over top. So that should only take me about 5 minutes to make that breakfast in the morning and prepare it. Or you could do scrambled eggs. That's really easy to have the next day and store. So whatever option works best for you, but I am going to just show you the portion of the potato bacon casserole. Alright guys, for this recipe, I'm going to be using the Ore-Ida diced hash brown potatoes. This Sam's Choice Uncured turkey bacon I get from Walmart. I love this bacon. It's really thick and cooks really well. I'm going to be using 2 types of cheeses, fat-free mozzarella and cheddar. You're going to need a yellow onion. We're going to be doing about ½ a cup of diced yellow onion. And then also some kind of spray of your choice, whatever spray that you like to use. And then also I have some seasonings back here. We are going to be using salt, pepper, and a minced onion, and some garlic powder, which isn't here, so I need to grab that. I like to add garlic powder to my casserole. I think it's really good. So garlic powder, here we go. So that is all you need for this recipe. Super simple. We're going to go ahead and kind of let this thaw out a little bit. So make sure you take this out prior to cooking so that it thaws out nicely, because we're not using the whole bag, or at least I'm not, because it's just me and my husband here. So while this thaws out, I'm going to go ahead and cook my turkey bacon. And how I like to cook it is just I'm going to do 3 pieces, and I'm going to wrap it up in a paper towel and cook it for about 3 minutes in the microwave. And it comes out so crispy. Anywhere from like 3 minutes or 3 minutes and 25 seconds usually. Sometimes it needs a little bit longer. So I'm going to go ahead and get that ready and prepare this while my potatoes kind of thaw out a little bit. This is how my bacon turned out. This is how it should kind of look. You could do longer if you want it more crispy, but since I am putting this into the oven, I don't mind that it's not completely crispy because it's going to crisp up in the oven. So that's a little trick, is to cook your bacon in the microwave. And I got that idea from Felicia Keithley. Little quick tip, any kind of leftover diced onions, like if I do too much, I like to store in this container for like cooking. So if I am making like eggs or any kind of dish that needs some diced onions, I can just take out this container and throw it in there. It makes things so much easier. So that's a little hack, and just store it in the fridge. All right, now I'm going to spray my casserole dish. Oop. All right, now we're going to add our potatoes. So got 1 cup, 2, 3, and 4. So 4 cups of the potatoes. We're gonna add ½ a cup of the onions. I realized I never took out my oat milk when I was doing the ingredient list, but I am adding some oat milk to this. You can add any kind of milk, dairy or plant-based, just as long as it's unsweetened. So we're gonna do 1/2 cup of any kind of milk you prefer. All right, we're doing 1 cup cheese total, but we're gonna add half of it now into the casserole and then save the other half for the top. So just add a little bit directly into the potatoes. And then next we're gonna do our salt and our pepper and all of our other seasonings of sea salt, some black pepper. I like a lot of black pepper in mine. We're gonna do 1 teaspoon of minced onion. And I'm probably gonna add more to the top once it's all done. And then we're gonna add some garlic powder. I'm going to do 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder. All right, now kind of just give that a good mix. All right, and then add your remainder cheese to the top. Just want this covered in cheese. And then we're gonna crumble our pieces of bacon directly on top of the casserole. So go ahead and just crumble up all your bacon. Alright guys, this is optional. I'm gonna add 1 teaspoon of the minced onion just right on top, just because I love this minced onion. It's so good. A little bit more. So 2 teaspoons. It's so good. Now we're gonna go pop this casserole into the oven and let it bake. Alright guys, for lunch I'm going to be preparing a homemade spicy black bean burger. Now, I love spice. If you don't like spice, you can eliminate the spicy aspects of this recipe and replace them for something else, or just leave them out totally, completely. You really don't need it. There's only 2 things that are going to make it spicy, and you could just leave those out and the burgers will just be a black bean veggie burger and they'll be delicious. And then with this, you are going to prepare them, make the patties, and then you actually freeze them as you would buy a black bean veggie burger in the frozen section. You're gonna put them in a container, and I line mine with parchment paper so that it's easy to they don't stick together and you can just pop them out with the paper. So you will need to do that, and then you just freeze them, and then when you want them, you just take them out. And the way I do it is I get a skillet, I spray olive oil spray, and I cook it on like 4 minutes on each side until it's nice and brown and crispy on like medium-high heat, because I like my burgers crispy. Also, I recommend taking it out like 10 minutes prior to cooking so it kind of thaws out a little bit. I also like to make them a little bit thinner because I think they cook better and they freeze better the thinner they are. So just keep that in mind. And yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys how to make it. Alright guys, so for this recipe you are gonna need a blender or a food processor, because we're gonna blend up some oatmeal. So this is gonna be our flour. We're gonna use old-fashioned oats, and we're gonna blend this up and it makes like an oat flour. It's really cool. That is what we're gonna use for our flour replacement. And then I'm also gonna be using some ground flaxseed. You can get this at Walmart or any kind of grocery store. You don't have to get this large of a bottle. They actually have them in this size bag, these little tiny 0.25 ounce bags they have. So you can do that because you only need 2 tablespoons worth, but I like to bake with this and cook with this, so I bought a big one. And then you will need 1 can of no salt added black beans. We're going to be using a 1/2 cup of this no salt added whole corn. And then you also are going to need some peppers. I already have mine pre-cut. I like to do that when I buy them and put them in a container because it just makes everything so much easier. I'm going to be doing yellow and orange. You could do purple, you could do green, any color pepper you want. And then you're also going to be using some onions. So I have some white and purple onions in here. It really doesn't matter. You can use any onion you prefer. And then a tiny little jalapeno pepper. I'm using the whole thing. So this is where, if you don't like spice, you're going to want to eliminate this and this spicy brown mustard. So eliminate those two things if you don't like spice. And then we're also going to be using some nutritional yeast. We're using 2 tablespoons of this. This isn't necessary if you don't have it or you don't want to purchase it. That is totally fine. You don't need it. It just adds a little hint of cheese flavor, and I really like it. So we're going to add some of this. You can get a day's worth of B12 using nutritional yeast. And then we're also going to be using some minced garlic and olive oil because we do need to use a little bit of olive oil in this recipe. So if you don't have minced garlic and olive oil, go ahead and use a little olive oil spray or olive oil, like a teaspoon or half a teaspoon. You don't need much. But since the olive oil is already in my minced garlic, which I need for this recipe, I'm just going to use this. And then for seasonings, I'm using dried cilantro, some chili powder, salt, pepper, garlic powder. So those are the seasonings I will be using. This is all of the stuff. It's kind of a lot, but it's worth it. And then a little container to store the little patties in. I'm going to freeze them and put them in this container and then take them out when I want to eat them. And I'm going to line it with parchment paper like I mentioned before. So you will need some kind of container to store them in. So the first thing we're going to do is drain our corn and drain our black beans. I'm going to rinse my black beans and then I'm going to measure out a half a cup of corn. So we're going to go ahead and get started with that. Alright, I rinsed the black beans. Now I'm going to go ahead and mash them up. I wish I had a masher, but I don't. So I'm just using a whisk and I'm just mashing it up. You could use a fork, you could use a whisk, or if you have a potato masher, you want to go ahead and use that. Also, you want to leave a few little chunks. You don't want it completely mashed all the way. You want just a few whole black bean chunks in there. So just keep that in mind. And go ahead and add your half cup corn. Alright, and then we're going to cut these up into small little dice sizes. As small as you can kind of get them. And go ahead and add that to the bowl. Alright, next we're going to add 1/4 cup of onions. Next I'm going to add 1/3 cup of the peppers. We're going to do 2 tablespoons of minced garlic with the olive oil. Add 1 tablespoon of the spicy brown mustard. So 1 tablespoon of that. Add 2 tablespoons of nutritional yeast. 2 tablespoons of your flaxseed. Cilantro. I love cilantro, so I'm doing 1 full tablespoon of dried cilantro. I'm going to add a little bit of garlic powder, probably like 1 teaspoon of garlic powder. I'm not measuring. And then 1 teaspoon of chili powder. A little bit of salt. Black pepper. Place that to the side. Grab your blender and add your 1 cup rolled oats. I have a half a cup here, so I need to add 2 of those. And then you're gonna just blend your oatmeal. There we go. Pour that in. Now we're just gonna mix that all together. I'm going to kind of just start forming my patty into the size that I want it. And like I mentioned before, I am gonna do a thinner patty just because it cooks a lot easier that way rather than it being super thick. If you want it to be crispy, I think the best way to do it is make a thinner patty. I kind of want this mixture to be like bouncy and easy to form, a few pieces will fall out. That's just normal. And you just want to pick those back up and throw them in the bowl. So just kind of start forming your patties and setting them on the plate. All right guys, this is how the black bean patties turned out. They made 7 patties. They look so good. They do kind of fall apart because I added so much veg and beans and corn. So just keep that in mind. You'll have little tiny pieces fall out, but it's really okay. Also, once this freezes, it like hardens and sticks together even better. So just keep that in mind. We're gonna go ahead and start layering our container. And with this, you want to be really careful. So I am going to use like a little spoon, and I'm going to scoop up the patty because I really don't want them to break. And then how I'm layering it is one down and then a parchment paper on top. Here is the container of the burgers. They look so good. So this just keeps it nice and stored tight, and then I will just pop one out once I'm ready to cook it. I'm gonna go ahead and give you guys a little sneak peek of one of the burgers, a little demo of how it's gonna look. So just stay tuned for the next clip. But for now, I'm gonna go store this in the freezer. That's where I'm gonna store these. Alright guys, so for dinner I'm going to make high carb Hannah's creamy wild rice soup. There's only 2 things I'm not using. She uses miso soup and apple cider vinegar, and I'm actually eliminating that and not using that, and I will show you what I use instead. I'm just going to show you what you need for this recipe. Alright guys, so I have my soaked cashews because I am going to be making a cashew cream sauce to go into the soup. So you will want to soak your cashews in hot water for about 3 hours, or you could just do it in room temperature water overnight. But you're going to want your cashews very, very soft to make the cashew sauce. And then you're going to need some wild rice. I have a wild rice blend I'm going to be using. You're going to need some baby bella mushrooms, carrots, onions, and some spinach, and 1 russet potato. I'm going to be using vegetable broth and oat milk. And then you also need some nutritional yeast for the cashew cream sauce, lemon juice, and Italian and parsley dried flakes. And then we're going to also be using garlic powder, sea salt, and pepper. Alright guys, I'm going to go ahead and measure out the soup now. So we'll do 1 cup plus a 1/4 cup is a serving. So that is how much I want to have. The soup looks amazing. I did taste it and it was so good, so thick, so creamy and delicious. So now I'm going to just go ahead and pop the lid on. And we're going to store these in the fridge. And this will be our dinner for a few days throughout the week. Alright guys, next I'm going to share my sweet treat. We're going to be making peanut butter chocolate granola bars. So it's going to be super yummy. So I'm going to show you what all you need for this recipe. So for this recipe, you're going to need some kind of protein powder. You could use vanilla or chocolate. I'm going to go with the Live Well cacao chocolate powder. I love this brand and I love this protein powder. It's really good. You're going to need some oatmeal and then some Lily's dark chocolate baking chips. We're going to be using some flaxseed and some PB Fit. This is the organic PB Fit peanut butter powder and some sugar-free syrup. So I'm going to go ahead and make my PB Fit peanut butter, which is just PB Fit and sugar-free syrup. So that is going to be combined makes a peanut butter. Alright, next we're going to add our oatmeal to the bowl. We're going to do 2 cups of rolled oats. And then for the protein powder, the chocolate protein powder, we're going to do 1 scoop of that. Add a 1/3 cup of sugar-free syrup in replacement of honey. It will lessen the points quite a bit. We're going to add 3 tablespoons of flaxseed. We're going to add a pinch of ground cinnamon. Just add a little bit of that in there. Some salt. And then 1/3 cup of the Lily's dark chocolate chips. Next, add in your peanut butter. And then give all of that a really good mix together. I'm just adding my mixture into a container lined with parchment paper so that it's easy to pop out of the parchment paper to cut so that I can make little bars. And then just press the oatmeal mixture down. All right, there we go. We're gonna go ahead and store this in the refrigerator for about 2 hours. Alright guys, that is it for this meal prep. I hope you guys enjoyed all these recipes that I share with you guys and try them out yourselves. I think that all of them turned out so delicious and I am so excited to eat for the week because all these recipes are so good. And check the description box for the recipe and the instructions and how to make it along with the points. I am on the blue plan, so that's the points that I'm leaving down below is for the blue plan. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did enjoy this meal prep, please give it a thumbs up. That helps me out so much and I really appreciate it. Comment down below, let me know what recipe looked best to you guys and which one you guys want to try. I will see you in my next video and that will be my what I eat in a day, my meal prep food edition. So look forward to that and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye guys.
Listen, baby, ain't no mountain high, ain't no valley low, ain't no river wide enough, baby.